Working your land will change anybody's life. There's a proverb that says, he who works his land will have abundance. But if you chase fantasies, you lack wisdom. And people say, well, what's your land? Your land is what's in front of you. If you're in the 7th grade, work your 7th grade land. If you're the cameraman, work your land. If you're a janitor, work your land. If you're a single mother, work your land. Your land is what's in front of you. So I started studying the law of the harvest, of working your land to get a harvest. You got to plow the ground. You got to plant the seed. You got to water the seed, and then you reap a harvest. And I think that mostly in the age of social media, people see guys like you and Gary Vee and others, and they think that they can go from bam to bam. It's not going to happen. You got to work your land. You got to plow, 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 plow. And you got to plant the right seeds. See, if we go back to your life, somewhere, somehow, you were planting some good seeds. And one time, and if I bring up Oprah once in a while because I love her, she's my real sister. We were just me and her in her backyard. And she goes, I love to work your land because, she goes, it's right. I planted the right doggone seeds. See, every day you got negative seeds and positive seeds. And people that are selfish, man, you're just planting negative seeds that are not going to come back positive. So when you plow and you plant the right seeds and you water them, which is repetition, it doesn't look like it's going to grow. Come on, man. You're working at Taco Bell, making gorditas, taking care of the Chihuahua. Doesn't look like it's working. All of a sudden, man, payday is on its way. And that harvest just starts to kick.
Yeah, that concept of the seeds, like you've got a bag of seeds every day, and are you gonna plant, good seeds, you're gonna plant negative seeds. That's interesting. And I love what you're saying about water is repetition.
Repetition.
And once people understand that, to me, I think the whole game unlocks for them. That, and when I read about bamboo, I found that really interesting. So bamboo, plant a seed for 5 years, doesn't look like anything is happening, but it's developing this huge ball of roots under the ground. It takes 5 years. And then in something like 3 weeks, it'll grow 30 feet above the ground. It's crazy. But you have to have planted the seed, watered it for 5 years.
Yeah.
Knowing that this repetition will pay off.
Yeah, great illustration. And at that case, no matter what spirituality you have to then walk by faith and not by sight.
Your brain is divided into two halves. Positive and negative, good and evil. It don't function on nothing else. Ain't no neutral ground in your brain. It's either positive and good or negative and evil. Each half of your brain has millions of factory workers on each side. You got 1 million factory workers on the positive side. You got 1 million factory workers on the negative side. At the forefront of each one of those factories in your brain is a foreman. You got foreman positive and you got foreman negative. You are in charge. You're the boss of the factory. So let me show you how this works. You got a remote control. You go to your house tonight and you press that power button and you press it. When you point it at the TV, what do you expect to happen? You expect TV to come on. You don't, listen to me. You press the power button, you expect the TV to come on. If you want to watch HBO, and HBO is channel 300, and you press 300, and then you press select, what do you expect to come on that TV? And what comes on that TV? Okay, you follow me now. They got this concept from the Bible because God said a man is as he thinketh. And since he created all of us in his image, guess what? We are how we think. If God said, let there be light, it was light. If he parted the waters from the land, it was done so. He gives you the same power to produce. You can't make a world, but you can make your own world. So now, since your brain is in two halves, let me show you how this works. You wake up in the morning and you say, man, I don't feel myself today. I got up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm not a morning person. Forming negative. Harry hears that. He steps to the front. He said, what did you say? You say, I said I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. I'm not myself. I'm not a morning person. He says, you got it right away. He said, hey, the boss just woke up and said he's not a morning person. He's having a bad day today, and he ain't feeling himself. Let's get to work. The million factory workers start producing thoughts to justify what you just said. So now guess what? Man, I hate my alarm clock went off this morning. I got to get out here in this traffic. I'm gonna drive down here today. I don't even like these people on my job. I can't stand this car I'm finna get in this morning. Sure wish I had a new car, but I'm driving this ragged ass car. And on and on and on. And your day starts tumbling into what you ordered at the top of the day. You could wake up in the morning and you say, you know what? Today is gonna be a great day today. I expect something really good to happen for me today. Man, thank you, Lord, for waking me up this morning. He said, what did you say? You say, I said I'm having a great day today. I expect something good to happen today. Thank you, Lord, for waking me up. Forming positive turns around and goes, all right, let me have your attention. Steve's having a great day today. He's expecting some wonderful things to happen. And man, let's get it going. And they start manufacturing thoughts. Same brain. Man, I can't wait to go to work today. It may not be the job I want, but at least I got a job. I'm so grateful I got a car to drive to work today. Hey man, at least I got a check coming in. I sure want to thank you, Lord, for this roof over my head today. I appreciate the fact that I don't have a car, but at least I can walk to the train. Man, this is going to be great today. That's how your mind works 24/7. It never turns off. You have got to change the way you think. It is the whole determining factor of where you go in life. We are all where we are today because we thought ourselves to this position. If you don't like the position, think yourself out of it. Change your attitude, you change your altitude.
I've always found Newton's life super fascinating because not only was he like one of the smartest guys ever, but when you read about his life, like he was a total head case, like had a very traumatic childhood, suffered a lot of abuse, and just was very antisocial and emotionally dysfunctional his entire life. And so I thought it would be really cool to kind of use him and his life as an example to demonstrate a lot of these topics that we're talking about, you know, in terms of identity, growth, self-discipline, etc. And so I took his 3 laws of motion and I basically just created emotional analogs of those. So the first one was for every action, there's an equal and opposite emotional reaction. And this is basically just the idea that every emotion is simply a response to either pain or the absence of pain. So when you remove pain from life, a positive emotion emerges in reaction, and if you add pain into life, a negative emotion emerges. The second one, self-worth equals the sum of our emotions over time. So you could even, you might even say like identity equals our emotions over time. So basically, let's say something traumatic happens in your childhood. That pain early on in your life causes a lot of negative emotions. And one of the things that I talk about is that anytime we feel an emotion, it compels us to do what I call equalizing, which is like if I'm angry at you, I'm going to continue to be angry at you until I either retaliate or you apologize. Like something needs to happen to make that anger go away. There needs to be some sort of like equalization between us. And if there is no equalization, that anger just kind of simmers and sits there forever. And one of the reasons why childhood traumas are so debilitating for people is that essentially these extremely painful experiences occur to our feeling brains while our thinking brains are still undeveloped and don't know how to explain or create meaning around that pain. So let's say something really painful happened to me now, I'd be like, oh, well, he meant well and, shit happens or whatever. But if I'm like a 5-year-old, my explanation for it only gets as far as like, I'm a bad boy, I'm a bad person. and the world hates me. You know, like and that will stick because it doesn't get equalized, and it'll stick for the rest of my life. And the problem is that we forget that painful thing happened. So we just kind of go through life with this feeling of inferiority and pain that lingers that we can't really put an explanation to or explain away. And so the process of therapy is basically unraveling a lot of our experiences until we get back to that original experience. And with our adult thinking brain, we can now put meaning to that pain that is helpful to us, essentially. So that's the second law, is that our identity is the sum of our emotions over time. And then the third law is our identity will continue to be our identity until new experience acts against us. So to use the music school example, I was a musician. I would introduce myself as a musician, and then I got to second semester of music school and had my ass handed to me, and suddenly I'm like, oh shit, I'm not a musician anymore, you know. And now I have to go around, and it's like, I'm not a musician. I don't know what I am. But it required, there was some new contrary experience that was required to create that shift within me, and this is why identity change, by definition, needs to be painful and uncomfortable. Because if it's not painful or uncomfortable, nothing's changing, nothing's shifting. There might be a perception of a change, but ultimately the only way our values change is that life knocks us on our ass a little bit and causes us to question everything we understand.